How to stop feeling angry. Anger is a natural human emotion, often triggered by frustration, injustice, or feeling misunderstood. While it can serve as a signal that something needs to change, unchecked anger can harm relationships, health, and mental well-being. Learning to manage and reduce anger is a valuable skill that promotes emotional balance and fosters healthier interactions. This essay explores practical strategies to stop feeling angry, including understanding its roots, practicing self-regulation, and adopting long-term habits for emotional resilience. Understanding the roots of anger. The first step to managing anger is recognizing its source. Anger often stems from unmet expectations, perceived slights, or external stressors like work pressure or personal conflicts. Reflecting on why you feel angry can provide clarity. For instance, ask yourself, what specifically triggered this emotion? Journaling your thoughts or discussing them with a trusted friend can help uncover underlying issues, such as feelings of disrespect or fear of failure. By identifying the cause, you can address the root problem rather than just the surface emotion. Sometimes, anger is a secondary emotion masking deeper feelings like sadness or insecurity. For example, you might feel angry at a friend for canceling plans, but the real issue could be disappointment or loneliness. Acknowledging these primary emotions allows you to process them directly, reducing the intensity of your anger. Self-awareness is key to breaking the cycle of reactive anger. Practicing immediate self-regulation techniques. When anger arises, immediate strategies can help you calm down before reacting impulsively. One effective method is deep breathing. Slow, deliberate breaths, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4, can activate the body's relaxation response, lowering heart rate and easing tension. This technique, known as box breathing, is simple yet powerful for regaining control. Another approach is to pause and step away from the situation if possible. Counting to 10 or taking a short walk can create space to process emotions rationally. Physical movement, like stretching or shaking out your limbs, can also release pent-up energy. These techniques prevent knee-jerk reactions that might escalate conflicts or lead to regret. Mindfulness practices, such as grounding yourself in the present moment, can also diffuse anger. Try the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Identify 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you taste. This exercise shifts your focus away from anger and anchors you in your surroundings, calming your mind. Reframing your perspective. Anger often distorts how we view situations, making them seem more threatening or unfair than they are. Reframing your perspective can help you respond more constructively. For example, if a coworker's comment angers you, consider alternative explanations for their behavior. Perhaps they were stressed or didn't intend to offend. This doesn't excuse harmful actions, but helps you avoid taking things personally. Practicing empathy is another powerful tool. Try to see the situation from the other person's point of view. Understanding their motivations or challenges can soften your anger and open the door to resolution. Additionally, focusing on what you can control, your response, rather than the other person's actions, empowers you to stay calm and solution-oriented. Cognitive restructuring, a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, involves challenging irrational thoughts that fuel anger. For instance, if you think, "This always happens to me," replace it with, "This is frustrating, but it's temporary and I can handle it." This shift in thinking reduces the emotional charge of the situation, building long-term emotional resilience. To stop feeling angry consistently, adopt habits that strengthen emotional resilience. Regular exercise, such as yoga or running, releases endorphins that improve mood and reduce stress, making you less prone to anger. Adequate sleep is equally important, as fatigue can amplify irritability. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night to maintain emotional balance. Communication skills also play a crucial role. Learning to express your feelings assertively, calmly stating your needs without aggression, can prevent misunderstandings that lead to anger. For example, instead of yelling, "You never listen to me," try, "I feel frustrated when I don't feel heard. Can we discuss this?" This approach fosters dialogue and reduces conflict. Engaging in regular self-care practices, such as meditation, hobbies, or spending time in nature, can also lower your baseline stress levels. When you're less stressed, you're less likely to react angrily to minor triggers. Additionally, seeking professional support, such as therapy or anger management courses, can provide tailored strategies if anger feels overwhelming or persistent. Letting go and moving forward. Holding on to anger can feel like carrying a heavy burden. Practicing forgiveness, whether toward others or yourself, can release this weight. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means choosing to let go of resentment for your own peace of mind. Journaling about your feelings or writing a letter, even if unsent, to the person who angered you can help process and release negative emotions. Finally, cultivate gratitude to counterbalance anger. Reflecting on things you're thankful for, even during tough moments, shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right. Keeping a gratitude journal or pausing daily to list 3 things you appreciate can rewire your brain to approach challenges with a calmer mindset. Conclusion: stopping anger requires a combination of self-awareness, immediate coping strategies, and long-term habits. By understanding its triggers, practicing self-regulation, reframing perspectives, and building emotional resilience, you can manage anger effectively and create a more peaceful life. While anger is a normal part of being human, it doesn't have to control you. With practice, you can transform it into an opportunity for growth and connection, fostering healthier relationships and a more balanced emotional state. How to manage a powerful emotion. Anger is a fundamental human emotion, a natural and often automatic response to feeling threatened, frustrated, or wronged. While it is impossible to eliminate this emotion entirely, a key distinction lies in our ability to manage how we react to it. Learning to control our angry impulses is not about suppressing the feeling, but about developing healthy and constructive ways to respond. By combining increased self-awareness, immediate coping mechanisms, and long-term behavioral changes, individuals can effectively navigate moments of intense anger and prevent them from causing harm to themselves or others. The first step in controlling anger is to understand its origins and triggers. Self-awareness is the foundation of any effective anger management strategy. Before an outburst occurs, there are often subtle physical and emotional cues, such as a racing heart, tightened muscles, or a feeling of agitation. Recognizing these warning signs allows a person to intervene before the emotion escalates. A helpful practice is to keep a journal to identify recurring triggers, whether it's a specific situation, a certain type of person, or even a pattern of thoughts. By pinpointing what makes us angry, we can develop proactive strategies to either avoid those triggers or prepare ourselves to face them with a calmer perspective. This introspection shifts the focus from an external cause to an internal, manageable response. In the heat of the moment, when anger begins to boil over, simple, practical coping mechanisms can prevent an emotional eruption. One of the most effective techniques is deep breathing. By taking slow, deliberate breaths, a person can activate the body's relaxation response, which counteracts the physiological effects of anger. Another common strategy is to simply remove oneself from the situation. Taking a short walk or moving to a different room provides a vital timeout that allows for a moment of clarity. During this pause, one can also engage in a mental exercise, such as counting backwards from 10. These immediate, temporary measures create space between the trigger and the reaction, enabling a more rational response rather than a purely emotional one. Beyond immediate reactions, long-term habits are essential for building a resilient emotional state. Regular physical activity, for example, is a powerful tool for reducing overall stress and tension, which are often the underlying fuel for anger. Mindfulness and meditation practices can also train the mind to observe emotions without judgment, making it easier to acknowledge anger without acting on it impulsively. Furthermore, developing strong communication skills, such as using I statements to express feelings without blame and actively listening to others, can resolve conflicts peacefully and prevent the buildup of resentment that often leads to angry outbursts. These habits are not quick fixes, but rather a commitment to a healthier emotional life, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger over time. In conclusion, while anger is an unavoidable part of the human experience, we are not powerless against its force. The path to controlling anger begins with understanding its roots through self-awareness and then employing a toolkit of immediate coping strategies. Most importantly, it requires a dedication to long-term habits that promote emotional balance and resilience. By embracing these practices, we can transform anger from a destructive force into a manageable emotion, ultimately leading to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Taming the inner fire, a journey from anger to peace. Anger is a universal human experience, a primal fire that flares within us all. It is a powerful, often uncomfortable emotion characterized by feelings of hostility, frustration, and agitation towards someone or something we perceive as having wronged us. While it is a natural and sometimes even useful signal that our boundaries have been crossed or an injustice has occurred, unchecked anger can become a corrosive force, damaging our relationships, health, and inner peace. The goal, therefore, is not to eradicate anger entirely, an impossible and unhealthy aim, but to understand its roots, listen to its message, and learn to navigate its currents with wisdom and composure. Stopping the cycle of anger is a process of awareness, regulation, and transformation. The first and most crucial step in disarming anger is to recognize and acknowledge its presence without immediate judgment. Anger often arrives as a secondary emotion, masking deeper vulnerabilities like hurt, fear, shame, or insecurity. By pausing to ask, what is truly beneath this anger? We begin to uncover the real wound that needs attention. This moment of mindful pause is the critical gap between stimulus and response. It is the space where our power to choose resides. Instead of allowing the anger to trigger an automatic, often regrettable reaction, we learn to sit with the sensation. We can notice where it manifests in the body, a clenched jaw, a racing heart, tense shoulders, and simply observe these physical signs as neutral data. This act of non-judgmental observation robs anger of its impulsive control over us. Once we have created that vital space, we can employ practical tools to soothe the nervous system and de-escalate the emotional intensity. Cognitive behavioral techniques are profoundly effective here. This involves challenging and reframing the catastrophic or exaggerated thoughts that fuel the fire. This always happens to me. They did this on purpose. By examining the evidence for these thoughts and considering alternative, less hostile perspectives, we can drain much of the anger's power. Simultaneously, physiological interventions can calm the body's fight-or-flight response. Techniques like controlled breathing, taking slow, deep breaths, can directly counter the body's stress response. Removing oneself from the triggering environment for a short walk or engaging in physical activity can metabolize the surge of adrenaline and cortisol that accompanies anger. However, management in the moment is only one part of the solution. Lasting freedom from chronic anger requires addressing its source and transforming our relationship with it. This is the work of transformation. If anger signals a violated boundary, the solution is to learn to communicate that boundary clearly and assertively, not aggressively, once we have calmed down. Using I statements, I feel upset when, focuses on the impact of the behavior rather than launching a personal attack, which fosters defensiveness rather than resolution. For deeper, lingering resentments, the practice of forgiveness, often misunderstood, becomes essential. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior or forgetting the past. It is a gift to oneself. It is the conscious decision to release the grip of resentment and the desire for retribution, which otherwise acts as a poison we ourselves drink. It is a process of letting go of the burden we have been carrying, freeing our own mental and emotional energy for more positive pursuits. Ultimately, to stop feeling angry is to embark on a journey of self-mastery. It is not about suppression, which only leads to bitterness or explosive outbursts later, but about conscious expression and release. It requires honesty to acknowledge the emotion, courage to explore its roots, discipline to apply calming techniques, and wisdom to address the underlying cause. By learning to respect anger as a messenger but not obey it as a tyrant, we reclaim our agency. We transform the inner fire from a destructive blaze into a controlled burn that can illuminate our needs, guide our actions, and ultimately, light the way toward a more peaceful and empowered life. How to stop feeling angry, a practical guide to managing your emotions. Anger is a natural human emotion that everyone experiences, but when it becomes overwhelming or frequent, It can damage relationships, affect your health, and diminish your quality of life. Learning to manage anger effectively isn't about suppressing it entirely. It's about understanding it and developing healthy ways to process and respond to these feelings. Understanding your anger. The first step in managing anger is recognizing what triggers it. Anger rarely appears in isolation. It's often a secondary emotion that masks deeper feelings like hurt, fear, disappointment, or vulnerability. Take time to identify your personal anger triggers. Are you more likely to feel angry when you're tired, stressed, or feeling unheard? Do certain situations or people consistently provoke this response? Keep an anger journal for a week, noting when you feel angry, what happened beforehand, and what you were thinking or feeling. This awareness creates space between the trigger and your reaction, giving you more control over your response. Physical strategies for immediate relief. When anger strikes, your body activates its fight or flight response, flooding you with stress hormones. Physical techniques can help reset your system. Breathing exercises are among the most effective immediate interventions. Try the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, then exhale slowly for 8 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, naturally calming your body. Progressive muscle relaxation involves tensing and then releasing different muscle groups, helping you notice and release physical tension that accompanies anger. Physical exercise provides a healthy outlet for the energy that anger creates. Even a brief walk can help clear your mind and reduce intensity. Cognitive approaches to reframe your thinking. Anger often stems from our interpretation of events rather than the events themselves. Cognitive restructuring involves examining and challenging the thoughts that fuel your anger. Common anger-inducing thought patterns include catastrophizing, "This always happens to me," personalizing, "They did this to hurt me," and all-or-nothing thinking, "Everyone is against me." When you notice these patterns, ask yourself, is this thought realistic? Are there other ways to interpret this situation? What would I tell a friend experiencing this? The pause technique is invaluable here. Before reacting, take a moment to breathe and ask, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in a week? What outcome do I actually want? Addressing root causes. While immediate coping strategies are important, lasting change requires addressing underlying issues. Frequent anger often signals unmet needs or unresolved problems. Consider whether you need to set better boundaries, improve communication skills, or address chronic stress in your life. Sometimes anger persists because we haven't dealt with past hurts or because we're in situations that genuinely need to change. Communication skills are particularly crucial. Learning to express your needs assertively rather than aggressively can prevent many anger-inducing situations. Use I statements to express how you feel without blaming others. I feel frustrated when meetings start late because it affects my schedule rather than "you always make us wait." Lifestyle factors that influence anger. Several lifestyle factors can make you more prone to anger or help you maintain emotional balance. Sleep deprivation significantly impacts emotional regulation. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep can dramatically improve your ability to handle frustrating situations calmly. Diet and blood sugar fluctuations affect mood stability. Eating regular, balanced meals helps maintain steady energy and emotional equilibrium. Stress management is crucial since chronic stress lowers your tolerance for frustration. Incorporate stress-reducing activities like meditation, hobbies, or time in nature into your routine. Building long-term emotional resilience. Developing emotional intelligence helps you navigate difficult situations with greater ease. This includes recognizing your emotions early, understanding their messages, and choosing appropriate responses. Mindfulness practice teaches you to observe your thoughts and feelings without immediately reacting to them. Regular meditation, even just 10 minutes daily, can increase your ability to remain calm under pressure. Empathy development can also reduce anger by helping you understand others' perspectives and motivations, making their actions feel less personal or intentional. When to seek professional help. Sometimes anger management requires professional support, particularly if your anger feels uncontrollable, leads to aggressive behavior, damages important relationships, or stems from trauma or other mental health conditions. Therapists can help you explore underlying causes, develop personalized coping strategies, and work through past experiences that may be contributing to current anger patterns. Anger management classes provide structured learning environments where you can practice new skills with others facing similar challenges. Moving forward, managing anger is a skill that improves with practice. Be patient with yourself as you implement these strategies. Change takes time, and setbacks are normal. The goal isn't to eliminate anger entirely, but to respond to it in ways that serve your well-being and relationships. Remember that anger often contains important information about your boundaries, values, or needs. By learning to listen to this information without being overwhelmed by the emotion itself, you can use anger as a tool for positive change rather than a force that controls you. With consistent practice and the right strategies, you can transform your relationship with anger from one of struggle to one of understanding and skillful management.